Hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining us today. We have a great webinar planned for you. This is part 2 of our March Madness series, all about running a help desk in M365. So most of us use Microsoft 365 in our work environments, and very few people actually realize just how much you can do with it and leverage it for help desk. So I'm joined today by our CEO, Scott Restivo, and he'll be showing us a little sneak peek into our help desk. And we're Crow Canyon Software, by the way. We've been in business for over 25 years now. We're GSA certified. We're a Microsoft preferred business application. We're also a California certified small business. But before we get too far into it, I do have a couple of housekeeping items I'd like to go over with you. So first off, we will be keeping this high level today. There's so much that we can do with the help desk solution in the Microsoft 365 environment, and there's so many different ways we can configure to meet your unique needs. So if you do have interest in it as we go through, I would definitely recommend scheduling a one-on-one demo afterwards, and we can really get into the nitty-gritty. But that being said, don't be shy. Use that question box. We've got the questions enabled here on the right side of GoToWebinar. Go ahead and pop your questions in as we're going along, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. And lastly, I do see questions already coming in here. Yes, this will be recorded. So yes, we will be uploading this to our YouTube channel as well as our website. And for all of you who have registered for this and are here live with us today, we'll be sending you the recording afterwards as well. So without any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and turn things over to our wonderful CEO, Scott.
Okay, thanks, Krista. Thanks for the introduction. And thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your day to hear our webinar and see what Crow Canyon Software has to offer in the M365 environment. What I looked at our offerings and said, basically, from a help desk perspective, we have three, you could call them almost styles or methods or levels. Now, we've been doing help desk in the Microsoft environment for over 25 years, going all the way back to the Outlook public folders, Exchange, Outlook Help Desk was one of our first products. And we went through the SharePoint on premises, M365, the cloud, mobile, now the AI world. Things evolve very quickly in the technology world, and we've kept up with it. And before I go into these three options, I do want to mention that we still have applications that run on the SharePoint on-premises environment if you are on that. I assume most people are on the M365, the cloud-based version, but if you happen to have an on-premises, just want to make that point that our software runs on the SharePoint 2016, 2019, SE, those versions that are on-premises. Also, in the M365 environment, we run in the commercial cloud, of course, but also in the government cloud, what they call the GCC, as well as the high secure government cloud, which is the GCC high. So we have a full range of options. Today we're going to focus on the M365 versions. So here's what we have in the help desk world, and I kind of broke it down into three things. There's a simple request manager kind of program, and I'll show you that, but there's a form. User can send in an email, fill out a form. It goes through a approval process, assigned, fulfillment, and done. And it's fairly straightforward. It can be used for many, many kinds of requests. And whether you're looking for a help desk for IT or a help desk for HR or a help desk for, take care of leave requests, travel requests, legal requests, marketing requests, any kind of request that you're doing inside of email or spreadsheets, or you have some complex system that's no longer needed, you want to scale it down a bit, then the request manager is highly adaptable. And we'll go into that. That's the first thing I'll show you. But let me explain the other two levels. There's NITRO Help Desk, which is really meant for an IT environment with change management, problem management, change management, has SLAs in it. It has KB Copilot in it. It's much more a level up, let's say, from the request manager for people who want those additional features. And it comes in standard or professional. Standard is the help desk, but professional is including the asset management aspect of it. So you can have your IT assets, computers, printers, and all that tied into the tickets, and I'll be showing that one also. We also have a third tier, which is NITRO Service Desk. Now, that's the help desk, the NITRO Help Desk, with assets, plus service catalog, plus CMDB, plus change and release management modules, and more sophisticated enterprise support. So it depends where you want to go. It's like when you buy a car, you want Honda Civic? Do you want a Mercedes? You know, I mean, it depends what kind of car you want or what fits your needs or your organization's needs here. So we'll jump right into that. I'm not going to go too much more into slides here. We'll just go right into the demo. So I'll do that. Let me bring that screen over and we'll start talking about this. So the first thing I talked about is kind of a request management system. Now this is running in an M365 tenant that we have. It's a demo environment. And you can see that there's a list of requests, and it happens to be access requests because just as an example, but again, it could be anything, it could be any kind of request, it could be IT requests. In this case, people are asking for access to databases or facilities or whatever. And if they're using the SharePoint interface, they can come in here and open up a new ticket or whatever, you know, form. They could also send in an email. They can make a request through, you can even text in, you can do Teams, you can use a portal. Basically, it's going to come into access requests. In this form, it's highly configurable. So what we do with people who are working with our request manager, we say, okay, what would you like to have? What form are you using now? Maybe you have a PDF form you're using already or an email template or something that you want to move over to a more sophisticated and better way of tracking it. And certainly this kind of system inside of Microsoft 365 helps enormously with managing any kind of request. Because not only does it issue requests made, for instance, access or travel or leave or something, once it's fulfilled, it's recorded so you can know that who granted what access, or who granted what permission to do this, or who solved that ticket, when was it done, is there a temporary kind of assignment like for instance, when access requests can maybe a contractor comes in and has access for a month. Or if it's a leave request, it might be that when the person returns, they have to reconcile how much time they actually spent with what they requested so that payroll is correct. I mean, all kinds of things that can happen. Also purchase requests. Now we do have a full-fledged purchase request system, but some people use our request management system for that. Just simple, I need a new laptop. Okay, it's been approved. Goes to the manager for approval, then it's been approved, and then it goes to procurement for fulfillment, and then requester gets a notice when it's been delivered, that kind of stuff. So what the form is, it's very flexible. You can have you can add and say, okay, we're going to add access. These are just showing you the dynamic nature of this form, how it reacts to whatever kind of request situation you're presenting. Now, I will get to IT Help Desk in a moment if that's what you came here to look for as an IT help desk. I'll get off this request manager and go to that, but give me just a couple minutes on this to show you how we have these dynamic forms that can show up different sections based on the different kind of requests. They're going to revoke requests, all these things. If people want to choose a database of SQL, they're going to get access to that SQL database. The SQL tab shows up. This wasn't here when it was a different one. So it's a very dynamic form. And I don't think I have to go into every detail of that because you've probably seen dynamic forms before, but I just want to emphasize that our forms in our request manager, our help desk, our service desk are all built on our NITRO Studio forms and workflows and custom actions, and they're highly flexible and highly adaptable. So we can make this be what you need for very little bit of configuration on the back end. And then if you need to configure it further in the future, you can always rewrite a workflow or whatever you need to do to make it happen. Pretty simple, straightforward, and it can be formatted in many different ways. Of course, we know who the requester is. We can look at different related tasks. We can look at signature columns. We can do, all kinds of stuff. I just put a lot of stuff on this form to show off a little bit of the capabilities of the NITRO Forms Designer and how we can facilitate request management, if that's what you want to do for help desk. Okay, if you want a simple help desk, people send in a request, it's going to go through the simple process of request, some kind of vetting to make sure the request is valid. Somebody looks at it and says, okay, we're going to assign it to somebody, or it can automatically go to an approver. And then from there, it can go into fulfillment if it's been approved. Of course, if it's been disapproved or denied or whatever, it would go back to the requester maybe for more information or whatever. So that's a request system. If you're using email for anything like that in your organization, or even a simple spreadsheet or forms, it's so much better to use a system like this because you've got a complete record of what's going on, who did it when. You can go back and reference things. You can do things like expiration date. This is only a temporary, the assignment of access. So we're going to get a notification when it approaches its expiration date. And you can see the same idea for policies or contracts and that kind of thing. So I'll leave off on that first level of request manager here. I just wanted to bring it into the mix because it is a very popular, very useful tool, relatively inexpensive to put in place, easy to implement, and you're good to go, and you're getting off the email-based or whatever legacy systems like InfoPath forms or something, and now you're moving into M365 and utilizing all the features of it. And as you can see, when we go into our ticketing system, you'll see that we can start to bring Teams apps into it, mobile apps, KB co-pilots, and all the other features. Now I jumped over to the second tier, what I was talking about, which is the NITRO help desk. Now, Krista, you've seen this before, right?
I have, yes.
To some degree, right?
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing more though.
Yeah, we've been enhancing this one a lot. We got a lot of feedback from our customers, up to what we want, what people want in it. But first thing I want to mention is that, okay, here it is, ticketing system. Nice, list of tickets, that's great. But how are they created? Chris, you heard of the omni-channel support?
Yeah, yeah. Omnichannel support. Do we have that in this?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. We have emails. You can send in an email.
Hmm.
You can send in a text. And people really don't use text, but I've never seen too many people using it, but it's possible. We have a system where you get it, send in a text. You can also text back the status, and it's not used too often. I won't belabor that one. There is using a portal, like a website, a web form, to create a ticket. There is what else? They can go right to the SharePoint form. They can use a mobile device. They can go to the Teams app. So I mean, what I want to point out is that how it got to this point of being in the ticket list could come from many different ways. Let's look at those a little bit, right? So uh, before we dig into the functionality of the ticket itself. So if a person is sending an email, well, I won't demonstrate that. That's pretty easy. You send an email, boom, it becomes a ticket. And then whatever notification processes you have as part of the initial creation of a ticket are enacted, and it can even be based on what kind of ticket it is. So different people are notified, or different people are assigned, or different people are, different way of handling the ticket based on what workflows are established for an incoming ticket. And that could be email ticket, a portal ticket, a web ticket, a ticket directly created here, a Teams ticket, and all that. So we can take a look at the employee portal as an example. So they can have a place where they have quick tickets, or they can just go submit a new ticket or look at their existing tickets. That's one option. There's also a Teams app. Do I have that up here? Where is it? This is in Teams. Looks like the same thing, but it's in Teams. And let's see, let's go here. So here we have, Teams up here. And they can go to, create a new ticket inside of Teams. This is Teams. I just switched over to the web-based version of Teams to show you that users can create tickets and engage with the system inside of Teams here. So if they go, there's a Teams app, and the Teams app is pinned to the left-hand bar. There's actually a name for this left-hand bar, which I never remember. It's not really quick launch, but whatever it is, it's pinned to the left-hand bar. And then, of course, you can go over to your other team stuff like chat or Teams or calendar calls, all that. But here is a pin to it, your help desk. And then they have the home site to the portal. Of course, this is configurable how you want it, different things up here, different quick tickets as we call them, different information. You can have marquees that are saying announcements about the HR, whatever. I mean, not HR, I meant IT. Well, it could be HR, but IT or HR, whatever the information is about latest updates or outages and stuff. But if they want to create a new ticket, they can come in here and create a ticket, which would go right into the list of tickets I showed you earlier. They can look at the tickets they have going. I guess I don't have any at this point. Another interesting thing we're doing is this KB Copilot. Now, what I wanted to do with this is point it out right at the start, because it's a way of creating a ticket. And the movement we're doing here, we've had BPA, business process automation, for so many years. Doing this over 20 years, right? Business process automation. It's been the thing. But now with AI being all the buzzword, but actually there is some practical uses to AI we're finding, is bringing AI in and combining the two. We call it small I, BPA, IBPA. So it's intelligent business process automation. And the way it applies to something like the help desk is like this. There is a co-pilot. Now, it doesn't look like much. This is always gets me about these co-pilots. They really don't look like much. It's just almost like a Google search page or something. But what it is behind the scenes, this is set up to read enterprise data and do the chat GPT magic on it and come back and give you answers that are synthesized. I wonder, I'm sorry, I should have had some prompt in my mind already, but I'm just going to type printer is not working. I normally I have the demo all figured out. I'm going to do this prompt, and I didn't. I'm winging it here, people. I'm winging it. Sorry. I think
Live in real life.
yeah, I know. But here, oh, look at that. This is a synthesized answer from the GPT. Well, GPT technology is used to read the data that is in our enterprise that we set up to read. Now, it's isolate. You can do two things with this, and this is where I'd love to have discussions with people. And this is so fascinating. And we're really in very active development, as are a lot of people with this Copilot. Basically, the data. The data is critical, right? Where's the data? Is it in your SharePoint environment? Is it in OneDrive? Is it web services? Is it PDFs that are sitting around your website? Is it manuals? Any of that could be accessed and utilized to bring back this information. And the big concern is it going to go up and feed the large language model so that private enterprise data is now becoming public to available to anybody using GPT or Claude 3 or Llama or one of those other models? And the answer is no. It's isolated to your environment. This LLM, this Copilot is reading information in your system, but it's not sharing it with any larger LLM out there. At the same time, if this Copilot needs to go out to the LLMs, it's called the hybrid approach, and bring in information that it couldn't find in your local data, it can do that. So this is really exciting. We're doing a lot with this also in HR. If anybody's into HR, I know you came from probably IT help desk, but everybody's got an HR system. We're building HR copilots that are, now listen to this, I call it this, I don't want to sound too fancy, but I call it disparate and heterogeneous data sources, which means like could be PDFs, it could be Word docs, it could be manuals, it could be FAQs on your website, a whole variety of information, policy docs, procedures, and it's synthesizing answers both for IT. We call this the KB Copilot for IT. We also have an HR Copilot for HR. We're building one for one of the large cities in the United States right now for their HR, one of their departments, HR. And it's quite an interesting and engaging project. And we'd love to work with other big groups and other agencies on this, other organizations, companies, whatever, on this, because I think it's such an exciting and interesting field. And I wanted to bring that in. I know we're talking about IT help desk, but one thing you say is, well, if I'm an end user and I need an answer, do I need to fill out a form or send in an email if I get the answer right away, right? Of course not. But this option gives you ability, okay, here's your answer. And if, here's a KB article you can link to and open up this actual, more specific, precise article and read about it if you want. You can also start up a chat or create a ticket or just say, okay, I'm done, it's resolved. Now, if you wanted to record all these interactions, they are recorded, but if you want to record it in your ticketing system, we can do that also. So you know that you had 15 interactions that were solved through the KB Copilot given synthesized and correct answers, then you keep a record of that. But you can also see that you're starting to preempt questions from tickets, requests by giving the answers right away. And then don't have to overload the help desk because you're kind of running interference with this KB Copilot where they're giving answers. And of course, it runs 24/7. I mean, so you don't have to have a live person being there to answer. It could be middle of somebody has a question midnight on Saturday or something. I don't know. And I don't know if that ever would happen, but if they did, or if you have an international organization, it could be different time zones all over the world, and they can just come in and do that. So the simple interface belies what is underneath the technology that is going on here. And it's quite exciting, quite interesting. And I'm really interested in this because, filling out a form is still going to be a very active, a very prominent way to engage with a business process automation solution. but I can see this more and more of these co-pilots and what I call IBPA solutions coming into play. And part of it, and just riff off a little here, is that it depends on what data you have. So we have this also the services for data organization, data distillation, meaning taking a widespread amount of data and summarizing it. We use what's called the RAG models, the retrieval augmented generation, things like that, that are ways of taking your data and making it even more useful and consumable by the GPT, or it could be GPT, whatever the large language model is. We've been using Chat GPT a lot, but now we're starting to use Claude 3 more, Anthropic's Claude 3, and see what other things are out there. I think a year or two from now, we'll see many of these options with LLMs with different capabilities and aspects to it. The other thing we're starting to do, the other thing you have to remember is I'm saying from an end user's perspective, but even from a staff member's perspective, it can be useful, because sometimes what's returned as a synthesized answer, the response from the GPT, is really something that a technical person would understand more than a user would, and the user may not enact or know what to do exactly with that answer, where a staff person would. So it's what we call staff augmentation. It's like in a sense, co-pilot, right? That's the whole concept. Your staff co-pilot to help you answer it. And one thing we're doing, and this is really exciting to me, and we're making good progress, is if you had a mobile phone and you took a picture of, say, that printer that's broken, the GPT, it can actually identify the model and give you access to manuals, maybe ideas on how to fix it. I've even seen things where they take a picture of a broken part. I'll say, oh, that's the part for, printer number, blah, blah, blah. Here's the fix. Here's some articles on it. Here's way to order a new one. I mean, these are going to go
That's
real
amazing.
exciting here. Yeah, I know I'm getting off on track here, aren't I? But it's exciting to me. There's a lot going on with it. And
Very exciting.
what's great about Crocan software is we're just, going really, really deep into this, because we feel it's really useful for business process automation. I mean, really taking it to a new level. I mean, I've been through the time when I go back to when the web first came out and mobile phones first came out, and cloud first came out, and sort of how revolutionary a lot of those technologies are, and AI is right in there. Of course, there's cautions, there's ethics, there's biases, and we all have to be aware of those. But this, maybe next week we'll talk about that more in our March Madness AI series, right? I'll get back to the ticketing system, and I hope that side segue into this co-pilot was useful and interesting. Basic concept here is that we're running options inside of the teams, which people are in all day. This is desktop teams. No, this is the web-based teams. It could be running the desktop teams or the mobile teams, the same kind of idea. So if anyone wants to explore that and talk about it more, love to hear what your side of the story is and how this could be useful. So let's go back to the NITRO help desk. Where are we? There we are. No, wait a minute. Over here, where was I? Get it back to that screen I was on. Studio, it's NITRO Studio. Where are we? One of these places. All right, let me just go back and go back to the site here. I guess I didn't have it bookmarked up there. All right, here's NITRO help desk. This one has a lot to it. This has, of course, your tickets, all your tickets listed. It has, agent dashboard, manager dashboard, because the concept kind of is that employees aren't really coming back here more. They're engaging with the help desk through the portal, through Teams, through email, and hopefully somewhat through that KB Copilot as it evolves. So we have incidents, this kind of ITIL model, and this is where it gets beyond that simple request manager I was showing you earlier. We now have this idea of tickets or incidents that can be escalated to problems, and once you identify the root cause of a set of incidents, you can then resolve that root cause, fix it. Maybe the server's slow, needs more RAM, there's something in the network that needs fixing or whatever. So once you identify what that problem is and fix it, then hopefully that will alleviate the number of incidents coming in, and reduce the number of tickets, because you fix some fundamental flaw or upgrade is needed in your system. That's the idea of this continuous cycle of improvement, that incidents indicate some underlying problem. Not all the time, but they can. So if you do need to escalate it to a problem, and then you can go into a change request where you go through a formalized change process so that when you make a change to the system that's hopefully going to correct some fundamental flaw, or it's an upgrade or addition or other modification, it's recorded. And if there's a need to roll back or reference it like a few months later and say, well, wait a minute, we made that change, in January, and now it seems to be this problem, you can go back and reference it and find out, dig into it. So this is where you get more into the IT kind of management side of things rather than just purely request and ticket and issue resolution, which is what the request manager's primary focus is. This is more like on manage it more system. So let's look at a ticket. Printer is low on toner seems like a easy one to work with. So you got a ticket. Again, the ticket form, it can be dynamic. When you look at a ticket like this, what is not always obvious is the fact that there's a number of workflows going on behind it. As I said, when a ticket is created, there can be any number of workflows. Standard ones are notify staff, somebody in staff or the whole team that there's a new ticket here. Maybe auto reply back to the requester, thank you for your submitting your ticket or whatever. There could be an automatic assignment. There could be an SLAs established. If you use an SLAs, it could be like, okay, based on the priority and the type of ticket we're gonna, or who it's from even, or where it's from, or when it was created, we can create an SLA that says this needs to be responded to in a certain time if you're using SLA. Other things can happen and launch other processes if there is a need. So it's all kinds of different workflows that can go on. I can show you something about NITRO Studio and how that underlies is the foundation of this program. It gives it enormous amount of power and capabilities. So, on this, we have the standard information about the ID, the title, the category and issue type, impact, urgency, priority, who requested it. All this information about the requester is automatically filled in from AD. If we go to another tab, we can see that it's status assigned to me, the date was today, and it's about this particular asset. So now we're talking about how this ticket is connected to the asset management side of things. So if I were to click, if I do click this, I can see the details about that particular piece of equipment. Here it is, where is it? It's right here. So it's a LaserJet something wireless color laser printer, and it's got all this information. So as from the ticket, I can launch into details about the asset, which may give me good information about how to fix it, or what's necessary, the history of the life, what's gone on previously with that asset as part of resolution of the ticket, if that's what's needed. So when I look at this, I can say, okay, it's an ID, it's this, got some description, it's in service, it's a LaserJet, blah, 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 all this, where it's located. It's over here in room 43, IT department, it's in finance. It was bought from Best Buy on September 18th of last year for $299, and all this other information could be filled in. I think there's an image of it here. Yeah, there's an image of it right there. In case you need that. There's maintenance, if you're tracking preventative, reactive maintenance to it, whether it's been checked in and checked out. This is more for laptops and other equipment. And then related items such as, well, here's a manual on replacing the toner on the HP LaserJet. Here's a warranty, the 1-year warranty on it, so you can know it's still in warranty. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can go on with this asset that can help you move towards resolution. If it's a matter of replacing the toner, you can look at this and say, okay, replacing toner. And then you open this up and you'll see that there's some information here that says, oh, I don't know what that's all about, but replacing toner, here's a link, cost was that when this information was first presented, and then you can go ahead and we even link it to our purchase system, so it becomes a purchase request to order a new toner, or you can check an inventory and see if it's this toner is already in there, and you just pull it out of the stock room. So that's kind of things that can happen more with an IT ticket, and you show how there's these different levels of engagement and ways this information can interact with each other back and forth to drive you towards resolution. It's where's the card? What cartridge do we get to replace? How do we replace it? Do we need to order one? All these things help facilitate the resolution of the ticket. So that's just an example of like low on toner. You can imagine there's many other types of tickets that come in. Wireless isn't working. I need a no phone. Cell phone not working. Blah 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 blah. A lot of possibilities. And you go in here and you can change the status, reassign it, look it up, where did it come from, prior to the due date. When it's eventually resolved, you can come, give it some resolution notes, and then the resolution notes can be used for later reference. It could serve part of the knowledge base, or if you're doing the chat GPT stuff, we have ways of taking the data from the list of tickets and distillation, I call it. So you don't want all this other information, but maybe you want to have the basic facts of the category, issue type, problem title or something in the resolution, and use those to help provide future answers and feed future questions, like on how to resolve these things. Also the knowledge base. So it's the kind of thing that can be done if you're looking for this kind of system. Now, what really is important, and we find, and over the years, doing this so many years, is to talk to customers and organizations directly and find out what you need and what your requirements are. A demo like this or webinar like this has to, by nature, be very general. And we're talking about a wide range of possibilities and capabilities. So kind of like the idea is impress you with, all these different things, but you may not need these things. You may want a simpler form. You may want to have it work differently. You may have a specific question. So I think it's very important to, if you're interested in running any kind of request management, help desk, or service desk on M365, to have a conversation with us. And because it's just, we enjoy those conversations anyway and learn a lot. And I'm sure that it would also be beneficial on your side to know what is and isn't possible to do with this. Now, one other things that are going on with this ticket is we have a number of custom actions up here. You can send an email out to the requester or to the anybody you want, really, but it sends an email out. You can assign it to yourself. You can create a problem. I always thought that was funny, create problem. It means, generate, categorize this as a problem and then associate other tickets with it. So you can see that there's all these multiple tickets are related to one issue, create a change request. You can resolve it, merge tickets, two tickets together or more, assign to someone, link to a problem, all kinds of different things you can do. And those are set up in our backend and NITRO Studio to do that. What I showed you earlier is the conjunction of this ticketing system with the asset system. Here's the asset. I'll close this asset and we'll look at our asset tracking system. So the asset tracking system, wait a minute, am I back in? I gotta go over to the assets. Here they are. The assets are all here. So you're tracking, you have two things going on if you want to use the asset tracking. You have the help desk ticket and you have your asset tracking going. That's the help desk professional. Help desk standard just is ticketing without the assets, but help desk professional. Most people are going to help desk professional because tracking assets is such a financially sensible thing to do. You don't want to buy a bunch of laptops you don't need. You want to know what you have in inventory. You want to be able to reassign them. You want to be able to maintain them properly. Now, I will segue just a minute here about how we also do work order and facility and equipment management systems. So it's like a help desk for equipment that is not IT assets. It's like, say you're taking care of a retirement home and you have a whole bunch of refrigerators and dishwashers and whatever's in a retirement home that are not IT assets. So we can do a help desk for IT and use IT assets, which are obviously computers, printers, phones, desktops, all that kind of thing. Or we could do stuff that's not related to a IT asset management. Same kind of principle. There's a tickets, the work orders, we call them, and equipment, which could be, like I said, stuff in a retirement home, or it could be vehicles, or it could be manufacturing equipment on a factory floor, anything like that. So we can track all kinds of assets and equipment. Great stuff. We do this a lot. There's a lot of people moving off spreadsheets. They're like, oh, all my assets are on a spreadsheet. Some people don't even know what they have. It's like, I think we got some laptops over there. I don't know how to use. So this way, you lose a lot of money. A lot of laptops or a lot of things aren't maintained properly or whatever. Even if you do nothing else, you got to get an asset management program in place. The cost is almost like the ROI is almost like instant by having better tracking of the equipment, better maintenance of it. Things don't walk out the door. You don't buy stuff you don't need. Anyways, back to the ticketing system. Of course, that's very important for keeping track and making sure user issues are resolved and the systems are working right. Now, I want to show you the third level before we get too late here. I know it's already 30 or 40 minutes. So let me see if I find that, which I call the service desk. Now, I don't know how many people are interested in this. This is why having the conversations directly with you would be so beneficial. And we're not hard sell. We're doing this 25 years or longer, and if it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Nothing else. We both learn something about each other's situations and see what we can do to help out. Let me go to service desk. If I find it up here somewhere, I know I had it up. Okay, yeah, okay. This is what I want to show you. We can also go to this further extent where we create like a service desk employee portal, and there's the idea get something fixed, which would be the IT tickets, request something, which is a purchasing program. No, sorry, purchase. Purchase something is the purchasing program. I say jump tracks here. Request something. I'll show you what that is. It's kind of interesting. You create this service catalog. Now, I think this is really cool because you could have service catalog. Okay, I have IT services. I need to buy a notepad. I want a service. I want a SAP. I want to get access to the SAP system. I want to network share access to password reset. So this is one, and then of course you can go here and sort everything by do a search or sort by different applications or software or whatever. I think this is pretty cool. What is interesting is that you know is your organization ready to take it to this level or not? And that's why I'm trying to show these three different levels. If you just want to get off, email or some kind of outdated system and get a request management system going, well, the first level of request manager will certainly satisfy that need quite well. And I would even say if that's a good first step. If you want the IT help desk with the asset, with or without assets, and you're using it for, you want the problem management, change management, the KB Copilot, and all that kind of stuff that's in there, SLAs, that make it much more sophisticated than a simple request manager. That's good too. Then you could also take it to another level and say, well, we have our IT organized. Usually, these are in larger organizations or educational institutions, and they will have, the employees, or in that case, it might be the students or members or citizens, whatever, come in and they make requests for certain kinds of services that the IT or the service desk provides. And that could be ticketing, like I have a problem. That's what I said at the right here on the homepage. They give these three choices: get something fixed. I got a problem. I want to request something from your catalog, or I want to buy something like a new laptop or or a cell phone or something like that, or I want to search the knowledge base. And then this becomes their personal employee portal where it's looking at my tickets, my service requests, meaning the logged in persons, the individual employee or students, my purchase requests, my pending approvals. They can go to the KB Copilot. Portal administration would only show up for someone who has administrative rights, like I do in this case. Now, this also can be used for tracking. Let's see, like approvals. If there's something that needs approval, they can look at, how's the status of this approval that I put in for, for a purchase or for access to a database or whatever. How's that progressing? It's very useful. It's whatever people want to use this for. It's very useful. Now, the other thing with the service desk level that takes it beyond help desk and asset management, we also have a change and release management program that's way more sophisticated than in the help desk one, because now it goes through this whole process of standard, normal, emergency, templates, releases. So it depends where you want to go. I mean, it's up to the level you need at your organization to provide it. Now, what we've done with our programs, and we've been doing this for so many years, is develop these different way, what is going to work for you at what price level, what subscription level, what services level, and make it match the two together. Everything runs on what's underneath every one of these programs I've been showing you. It's something we call the NITRO Studio. It's right here, NITRO Studio. And the NITRO Studio is created by Crow Canyon Software. It's our property, and it comes with any one of these, the request manager, the help desk, and the service desk as able to be utilized within that site. So if you say look at NITRO Help Desk, for example, it's NITRO Studio. You have the forms, actions, workflows, reports, advanced approvals, branding. It's just all setting it up under the covers. You can delve into this quite a bit if you want to really manipulate the application the way you want. or you can have us do it, or you can just, use it out of the box. It works perfectly fine too. The other thing with the ticketing system is we have an administrative panel where you can come in and categorization, auto assignment, notification, service level agreements, permissions, lists, all these other things you can do to set it up the way you need to here. So we give you quite a few ways that you can independently manage and enhance your system, whether it's through the administrative portal here, or you want to go over, in fact, you go right to Nitro Studio right here, and you go over to Nitro Studio and start using these tools where you're going in and designing a form. Just to show you a quick example, I could do a whole thing on Nitro Studio itself. A lot of people use it to build their own applications outside of our help desk, request manager, and others. I mean, just want a simple form. It's kind of like Power Platform, but we think it's better and more useful. But that's everybody's opinion. It's different taste. But a lot of people have moved from Power Platform to this because they found it much easier to use, much more capable, without all the stuff, I guess you could say, that Microsoft throws in to their tools. So we have, here's a form designer. You come in and you have different layouts you can do, different form controls, different actions you can add to it. Make it a very, very useful, a lot of fun you can have with this, of signing and implementing your own program, as well as modifying, the help desk or the request manager as needed once you buy it. And we also have our Nitro, we have custom actions and also our Nitro workflows. And Nitro workflows get into designing workflows. I'm showing you this under the covers because, probably most of you people are like IT oriented, help desk. But don't get overwhelmed if this isn't something you want to do. You don't have to. But if you do, it's kind of interesting that all these kind of different workflows you can build that have an enormous number of actions we can take here to add to it. So all these different actions. So you can imagine the workflow starts. Either it's triggered by somebody pushing a button, or it's triggered by just an event or a timer, or it's like a new ticket comes in, or the status changes, or it's been reassigned, or it's been closed, or a certain amount of time it's come up. It's so close to the due date, 1 week before the due date itself, or expiration date of a contract, whatever. It's going to launch some workflow. And the workflow it can be very sophisticated or very simple, depending on your needs. And all these different actions can happen in sequence, or there can be gateways that branch it off into different, based on certain things. If it's this type of ticket, go here. If it's that type of ticket, go there. You can branch in two different directions. It's all drag and drop. And you can say, okay, now we're going to go over here and send an email. In this case, connect these two together so that if that condition is met, it sends an email. But if the other condition isn't met, it goes in and invokes a web service. The web service can launch some REST API that interacts with a backend procurement system. So you start to build all these workflows in that, based on certain flow. How's that? A flow of the work, a flow of how you want it to go. Yeah, and different conditions and different things. Again, this can get, it's like you're looking at a car and the guy lifts the hood and says, well, it's got this carburetor and it's got these 8 valves. And you have to, if you're kind of a mechanic and kind of a gearhead, it all makes sense. But if not, then don't let this overwhelm you. You don't have to dig into this part. We can handle it, or you can tell us what you need for a workflow, and we'll come up with it. But I just wanted to show you that there's a lot of power. Vroom, vroom, rev up that engine, right? Chris, you like cars, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, um, I don't know. Some people want to see what's under the hood, some don't. So it's a lot of power under the hood here. So I think that's a good 45-minute intro to our help desk, the different levels we have, how we're incorporating in the Copilot, this GPT technology. It's really cutting edge stuff. Yeah, it's the funny thing is it doesn't look like much, right? Look at this, Chris. It looks like a
So
Google,
looks can be deceiving. It looks so simple.
yeah. I don't know, maybe we gotta like dress it up with more fancy stuff to make it, but really it's the technology underneath is quite sophisticated and exciting. So but
I love that you
the
can use
answers
it
it
in
gives,
Teams too.
yeah, I can use it in Teams. You're right. You're right. The whole Teams and mobile. The mobile device and the yeah, Teams on mobile and all that, different, yeah, any kind of device. And what's the goal? The goal is to get, answers to the users, to the employees, to the citizens, to the members, to the students, whoever you're dealing with, quickly and expeditiously, and also to make it life easier for the staff who are handling this, so they can look and say, okay, we know what's out there outstanding. We know the priority. We can know what we need to do today. We have a track of our assets, our equipment, and we're able to keep it all organized. And then the third part, we call it, the three pillars of application design, one being UI, UX, so you empower and engage users. The second one being streamlining operations through workflows and custom actions and automatic assignment and escalations on. But the third one we should not forget, which is the continuous cycle of improvement that comes from reporting and dashboards and reporting that help show you what needs to be done at this time. In fact, I'll just do that because I really should show you more about the reporting capabilities of this program. So you got all kinds of reports that you can build and see, and have different ways of charting, different ways of graphing this information. Um, if there's data there, I guess, how things show up, and you also can create these kind of dashboards that show this information also, like this. You can design these any which way that works for you. Like the manager dashboard would be different than, say, the agents dashboards. Nice dashboards like this. Yeah, it's good that show you this kind of reporting capabilities, and these can all be exported or sent by email or have scheduled reports every Monday or whatever. So, Chris, I think we handled most of those questions, right? Pretty good.
Yeah. I think I had a bunch of questions coming in here, but I think we touched on a lot of these. Looks like I think one of the biggest things I would say is if you're interested in diving more into the details of how we handle SLAs, how we handle KPI reports, satisfaction surveys, any of these things, I think a one-on-one demo is the next step, right, Scott?
Yeah, I would agree, because it's not everything. I show very general picture, but there's always specific questions that come up about it. One other thing that comes up quite often, of course, is cost, and we'll talk about that. The three different tiers have different costs, and based on users or agents. We can go into that with sales if you're interested. But other people talk about the ease of installation, and the installation, it would go into your Microsoft 365 tenant. That keeps the data secure and isolated to your environment. It's not like a SaaS solution where it's up on the cloud. Well, it's on the cloud, but in your cloud, your M365 tenant, you could say, and the data sits there. The installation is pretty straightforward. We install NITRO Studio as a base for that site, and then we install the product on top of it. They usually, just a couple hours. Then there's a matter of configuration, and that depends how far you want to go from out of the box to others. We have a silver, gold, and platinum packages for services that go along with the license price. It's a subscription. The license is a subscription, paid yearly. And then the silver, gold, or platinum packages are added on as a one-time cost to help you configure it. A certain number, like silver, I think it's 40 hours, which is really a lot. I mean, that's good. Then there's one that's 60 hours, the gold, and 80 hours platinum. Because it really depends how much integrations are going on, how much, is there migration from an old system? I mean, a lot of variables, a lot of factors that come into play as far as pricing and services and packages. And I can't go more into that than that on this webinar, because it's, it depends on your specific situation. But the good news is, we could show this to you. You took your time out of the day. We have a really good crowd for this. A lot of people interested. This program is in use in a lot of locations, and I hope I emphasize the point that there's different levels. Also, it can be used not just for IT. We have a lot going on with HR help desk, right, Krista? A surprising number of people asking
Yeah.
for a similar system in HR. Large
Yeah,
healthcare organization just signed up with us, for example, right?
that's awesome. Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot more interest. I think a lot more HR departments are realizing just how much of a difference this sort of thing makes. So
Yeah, they got to
That's
manage their requests. They have benefit requests or whatever kind of, HR is very complex. The other thing is legal. I've seen people using this for legal requests and things like that, where they have requests for documentation or something. And that's where the co-pilot can really come into play, like a legal co-pilot that goes out to certain, brings back information based on the request that's needed for that by that attorney or lawyer or whatever. So there's all kinds of possibilities, and this is an exciting time. There's no question about it. And like I say, we're moving from BPA, the traditional BPA, to IBPA. So I show you today is kind of a mix of both, kind of what we have that's well established, function of ticket creation, assignment, approvals, workflow, fulfillment, but also trying to also show that there's a lot of movement into the intelligent, the IBPA world. And of course, a lot of this is still new and evolving. I watch a lot of YouTubes every night, read blog articles from Microsoft. I think even me, or me, not even me, but anybody like me who does this night and day still can't keep up, Krista.
there's so much, it's changing so rapidly.
Crazy.
It's really an incredible time, but I mean, it goes to show you if you're not doing anything, you're really moving backwards right now.
Yeah, that's the danger in it. Um, so we're moving ahead forward, and we're glad to help anybody else who is engaged with us, or even just having initial conversations, because that helps a lot to establish, is this something that's useful or not. But anyways, we're not going to take up more time. I think we're really good here to call it a wrap. I want to thank everyone for taking the time out of their day today. Wonderful spring day, first day of spring or second day or something. And hopefully we can help you with your BPA or IBPA journey. We will be at some shows coming up. There's a show in Dallas called North American Collaboration Summit. There's going to be a tech con in Seattle. I may go over to the European Collaboration Summit. I don't know. I'll see if I can arrange that. There's an event in Orlando or La Buena Vista, they call Lake Buena Vista, the big thing down in Microsoft World in early May. So hopefully we'll run into you at one of these shows somewhere along the line in person. And, we're real company, we're real people, right? I think you're real, Krista, right?
That's right.
Are you an
Well,
AI?
we
Wait
are
a minute. Are
not
you an
AI.
AI
Yeah.
bot? Are you an AI bot, Krista?
I know.
All right. Everyone have a good day. Thank you for attending. Goodbye.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye.